Welcome to Life Planning 101, brought to you by Kennedy Financial Services of Eastland. Tune in every Monday morning at 8:30 on KATX and again on Saturday morning at 9 a.m. on KATX and KWBY as Angela Robinson joins Stace Gaddy to share important financial information to help you live life on purpose. Insurance, investments, estate and tax planning, and much more. All covered now on Life Planning 101.
Oh, it's so exciting each and every Monday morning at 8:30. And also on Saturdays, don't forget, folks, we rebroadcast this programming, Life Planning 101. I'm Stace Gaddy, as the nice announcer man said, with our featured guest and expert, Angela Robinson. Good morning, Angela. Now, do we spring it now or later that we have an extra special guest?
We do have an extra special guest this morning. I am so excited. We've been back at doing these shows since August, and we have yet to have him on the show. So I'm going to leave it in the big mystery while I talk about this for just a moment.
Yes.
But we today, I just really, I think a lot of people listen to our show and they may wonder, okay, who are these people? Who is Kennedy Financial Services, and what is their culture? Where did they come from? How did they develop this business? Because this isn't what we normally hear. I mean, if you turn on WBAP or 660 or whatever you listen to, they may talk about money, they may talk about investments, but they don't talk about all this planning and what is this all about? Where did it all come from, right? Mm-hmm. And so that's really what today's show is about, is talking about how we got to where we are. But also, I'm really excited because our special guest is going to be answering some questions at the end of the show you don't want to miss. Okay. These are the three most common questions that we are asked in our business. And so very, very good questions. And you're going to be able to get some answers to those questions today. So make sure you stay tuned for the whole show today. And also write down your questions, any questions you've got, or if you think you have something that you need to review or whatever, make sure you email us. Remember, we give away a prize every week for best question of the week, life planning at kennedy-financial.com. That's where you email us, life planning at kennedy-financial.com, and email us those questions. This week, because we aren't necessarily going to have a trivia this week, we're going to give away an extra special surprise. We're going to be giving away a free pizza, large pizza with your choice of toppings on it, to the best question that we receive. So make sure and get those in. We do vote on those by Wednesday of every week, so make sure you get them in.
The company?
They go. There's two of us that actually look at them and vote. Okay. I'm one of them. So, because I'm the one doing the show. So we have two of us that look at those, and then we say, okay, this is yay or nay. But make sure you get those in. So, what is Kennedy Financial Services, and what are these 8 life planning issues that we always talk about? If you go back to the beginning of our business, when it was developed out of the idea that a lot of people went to so many different advisors for different things. So, you went to your tax advisor for this. You may have went to 2-3 different investment advisors. You might went to an attorney and your insurance agent and all these different people. But who was ramrodding that whole deal? And a lot of people may say, well, I was, okay? And, most of the time, that's good. You need to know what's in the know, but were you giving all those people every bit of the information that they needed? Plus, were you telling them what the other professionals had told you about everything? And the answer to that is often no.
There's a lot of room for error there.
That's right. So we call that Swiss cheese in our office, okay?
Because it has holes in it.
That's right. We got holes. We got tons of holes, and there's overlap. There's gaps, all kinds of things there. So, that's where really our 8 life planning issues got started. We look at people's situations, and we do it on a proactive basis. We don't do it on a reactive basis. We actually sit down with them and go through these 8 life planning issues at least annually, even if they're there or not, so that we can plan for those big what ifs, whether it be your family support issues, taking care of adult family members or adult children or parents. We call that the sandwich generation for most people, right? Charitable gifting issues, whether that be at now or death. You've heard us say on the show before so many times about being able to give when you didn't think you could give because you thought you were going to disinherit somebody by doing that. And there's all kinds of things that can evolve around that. Business succession planning. A lot of business owners have a business and they may say, I'm never going to retire.
Right.
We hear them say that all the time. I love what I do. But what if you had to retire? So succession planning isn't just about planning for the selling of your business or transferring it to your children, which we do, but it's planning for the what ifs that could occur. Legacy planning, which is much more than just putting your documents in order, but making sure that your legacy, your values actually pass on to that next generation, as well as your assets and all the money and everything else, and doing it tax efficiently. That's a big part of it. Insurance, I think, a lot of people say insurance. I hate insurance, but we also know that we've had some natural disasters around this area in recent years, and those people that may not have had insurance while they had these natural disasters may be in big trouble because of that.
We had the floods here, but just last week down in Stephenville.
That's right. Yep.
EF1 tornado hits.
That's right.
The what ifs in life.
Yeah, the what ifs. So, insurance covers those what ifs, right? Liabilities, that could be debt, that could be getting sued. We've shared stories on the show about different clients that we've had that have had huge issues around this. Taxes, paying less in taxes, everybody wants to do that, I think. And then investments, and that's the last thing that we really talk about, because we can't really talk about someone's investments until we know everything else. And, when all this comes in said and done, so, we take the organization, we start communicating it with your different advisors, then we coordinate that information and correlate it and put it like in a filing cabinet. So it's so clean. So you know where everything's at and what it's about. And then we create a discipline for you, for us to be able to follow, to continue that process and make sure that, we're able to turn that Swiss cheese into American cheese, not have any holes,
no holes,
right, and live life on purpose, right?
Beautiful.
So when we come back, you're going to get to hear from the founder of Kennedy Financial Services himself, Jim Kennedy. We've got a great set of questions that we're going to be asking him about the business. You don't want to miss it.
Very, very good. So excited to have him on the program. Folks, keep it right here on KATX and KWBY for more Life Planning 101 right after these words from our sponsors. Welcome back in, folks, to our second segment of Life Planning 101. I'm Stace Gaddy. Our regular featured guest, our expert, Angela Robinson here. But Angela, I'm going to allow you to do the honors to introduce extra special guest today.
That's right, Dad. No, I am really honored to be able to do this on the show. We've got, we've started doing these shows back again in August, and each week we go over one of our 8 life planning issues and really go in depth on that. But I don't think we're doing the show justice without bringing Dad on, because if we don't, we're not talking about where the business actually came from and what we're all about as a culture. And I think that is so important. So, Dad, Jim Kennedy, welcome to the show. Thank you for being on with us. And really, it is an honor to be able to interview you as my dad today. So this is great. And some of these questions, by the way, he didn't even know what they are. So this could be a little bit fun. But let's just go ahead and dig right in. So talking about the business, and we mentioned before the break that this is a business that is unlike any other business. How did this get started? How did you get started with Kennedy Financial Services, or in the business in general?
Well, I look back myself and sometimes ask myself that same question. Yeah. And I think it really started as a childhood thing, as working with my dad out on the farm, and all the things that we did just day in and day out. But then I was fortunate enough as a young man to be able to work for a small business owner, left that and went into the banking world. And in the banking world, you obviously get to see a lot of different businesses, a lot of different people, and a lot of people make mistakes, a lot of people very successful. And it always intrigued me to find out how people did those things. And left the banking, went into the insurance industry, found out a whole lot more, because back then we used to do what we called a life needs analysis. And when you talk to people, of course, insurance companies train you to solve the problem with all the insurance products. Well, I found out very quickly that really wasn't the true way to take care of someone, and I didn't feel good about it. So kind of went back to my banking experiences, because I was in charge of banking, investments, loans, and worked with attorneys, worked with CPAs, and really got started into doing what we called life planning. And life planning was looking at the whole picture, like Angela said, looking at the people's lives, asking lots of questions, and what works, what doesn't work, and the Swiss cheese approach, because we all have holes in our cheese, and found out that we needed to build a plan around your life, not around a product, not around not around one thing in life, but because there's so many areas of it that people are not aware that they overlap, and you really need to be able to talk, have someone that can talk to and be a part of all parts of your life, including your insurance agent, your accountant, CPA, your attorney, your investment people out there. And we just felt like is something that we need to do.
Yeah. So this tagline, helping people live life on purpose. We all know the purpose-driven life was written, and I know as a child you've always claimed, hey, I said that before the purpose-driven before Rick Warren said it. So where did the tagline, helping people live life on purpose, come from?
Well, I did seminars for a number of years and did them at several different colleges. And what I found out is that, people were, wanting things to happen on purpose, instead of by default. And they made a lot of mistakes. And one day I just thought of something, we need to help people live life on purpose. And I kind of got a little, people kind of laughed at me about that. But I said, that needs to be our,
sounds good. Yes.
Our tagline. We need to help people live life on purpose and not live life by default. Because one thing, I guess my passion was that when I would go out and meet with people would come in the office, I see things that they did, and I said, man, if they just come talk to us, and just made my heart ache. And so I just felt like this is something we need to do, is just help people live life on purpose instead of by default.
Yeah. And I've always been curious, and maybe I'm just brainwashed, right? Because we do get out a lot, and of course Stace is always saying, man, you travel a lot, because he's having to rearrange the radio shows for us. But we get out a lot. We see a lot of advisors. We talk to thousands of advisors in a year. And why aren't there more people that do what we do this comprehensive life planning? Why do you think that is?
Well, I think it's because it's a lot of work, tremendous amount of work, tremendous amount of detail, and most people are pretty focused on one area of life, no matter what area that they work in. And people just want to do insurance, they just want to do banking, or just want to do the legal work, or just the investments. And it's expensive, to hire the number of people that we have and to track and follow everyone. But to me, I'm just one of those guys. I'm a fix-it guy. I want to fix everything. So I never was satisfied with just one area of someone's life. I want them to help fix their whole life, not just one piece of it. So that's probably me as much as anything.
Yeah, so that's why we help people buy air conditioners and buy cars and everything else that we do. That's really not on our menu of services, so to speak, but it is very comprehensive.
Yeah, a lot of times, these people have been with us for 20, 30 years, and I feel like they're part of my family, my grandmas and granddads, and I don't like to see them being taken advantage of no matter what area of life they're in. So I'm real driven to make sure that they're being treated fairly.
So was there a specific moment in time when you knew you were led to do this with your life?
Well, that's a great question, Angela. I think there's more than one specific time. I think God led me down this path, and I had a couple of things happen in my life. One was I had a really good friend that told me if I didn't quit doing what I was doing, I probably wasn't going to live past 50, and that's mainly because I was putting in too many hours in a week. So I decided I would go to a coaching program, and the coaching program told me I could do what I need to do in an 8-hour day. I just had to change the way I thought. And the second thing was I went on a men's Christian retreat, and that changed my life, because I found out then that God's purpose for all of us is to do what we call unique ability. And when I found out really what my unique ability was, I knew that I was headed down that right path.
Very good. So our company culture, the cowboy way. I mean, we have a bookmark that we hand out about this. Our word is our bond, and our handshake is our word, type of thing. What does that mean? What does the cowboy way mean?
Well, you just got to do what you say you're going to do and show up on time, and
Wow, what a concept!
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
I love the old traditional cowboy ways. Sometimes people need to get out of the way so you can do it the cowboy way, and I want to make sure when we walk away, our handshakes, our contract, and our words are bond, and there's no other way to do it.
Yeah, and we've always, been very proud of that around the office when we've been hiring a lot of interns over the last few years, and everybody's just shocked that here we are, Wall Street, the cowboy way. So.
That is wonderful.
Yeah, very good. So, we talk about our experiences are really what value we provide to people that we meet with, because we may not have lived their life, but we've lived their circumstances, what they're going to experience through the experiences that we've been working with people of over 26 years now. Is there a particular story that stands the test of time?
Oh gosh, there's so many of them. Like I said earlier, these people, once they're with you that many years, you've helped them take care of everything in their life, from selling homes to moving to retirement centers, to even helping them during times of dire need, whether it's nursing home or Alzheimer's, and I can't imagine someone living without someone like us to help them, because we have lived their experiences either through our clients' experiences or our own, and they need our help. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah, very, very good. Well, we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to finish up with one last question for you, and then the 3 most common questions that we're asked as advisors. You don't want to miss it.
Welcome back in, folks, to the final segment of Life Planning 101. I'm Stace Gaddy, Angela Robinson, and the man himself, Jim Kennedy. Good morning again, folks.
Yes.
Grumps to my grandkids.
Yeah, that's Grumps. That's right. He's
Okay.
Grumps. In fact, he came up with that before he found out about the hamburger joint too. So he's on a roll, right?
Man, you're in the wrong. You need to be in marketing.
That's right. That's right. So, but we always say it fits pretty good for the grandkids.
Not sure what they mean by that.
So anyway, we've been talking just about where Kennedy Financial Services came from, and we left off. You were sharing with us about there's too many stories to really share, because or one just to nail down that really exhibits what we do, or being able to help others with their experiences. There's just too many. So we're going to ask one final question for you, and then two final questions for you, and then when we get done with that, then we're going to ask you about the 3 most common questions that we're asked as advisors. And I think this will be really good for you guys to hear from someone besides me all the time. So after all these years of being in business, what are you most proud of?
That's probably has changed over the years, but probably most proud of that my children have decided this is a good business, good profession to be in, and step in the footprints that we laid out, and being able to carry this forward, because it changes the whole vision of what you do, and thinking about not only what's going to be in store for them and how they can help people for the rest of their life, but even maybe the grandchildren coming up and being part of this, because it's really hard to take a business and take it and pass it on to your kids, and especially your grandkids. 3 generations is almost unheard of, but I would say that's probably something that was never in the back of my head that would ever happen, because they never did anything I wanted to do when they were kids. Why would they grow up and do something I want them to do as they've grown? But
That does say a lot, though.
Yeah, so it kind of surprised me, but now I'm just extremely proud of that, and knowing that they have the passion to take care of our clients, because number one's our client. That's always been and always will be, and I know that's in their heart, and that means a lot to me.
Well, it's exciting to be in business. I couldn't have said when I came in business. I think Stace knows this from a previous interview. I was basically blackmailed to come into this business with Dad. I worked for him as a kid, doing stamping labels and cleaning overhead projectors and filing and all those things. But he wrangled us back in, and we are proud to be here, because we have such a big vision with where we can take our company, because nobody does what we do, and we want to get the word out. We want to share because we think it's so impactful. So there's an interview show going on right now. It's a series with Joe Buck, and he's interviewing all these athletes. And at the end of the show, he has this really weird question that he asks these people. So I'm gonna ask this to you, Dad. Would you rather wrestle a crocodile or a shark?
Oh, crocodile.
Why?
Because I could get out on top of the ground with a crocodile. There's not a chance I'd ever get out of the water with a shark.
Well,
I like the way you think.
Good answer. So, in true Joe Buck fashion, there we are. But let's go to these 3 most common questions that were asked as advisors. I know everybody's been waiting to get these done on the show, but first of all, and I think this is the most common question we're asked, how do I pay less in taxes?
Oh, that's easy. You just need to be sure you're working with a financial advisor that helps you plan out what you need to pay, what you need to be earning, what you need to be saving, and what you need to be spending money on, and what's important in life. But Uncle Sam gives you all different ways to save taxes, but very few people take the pains to learn what those are. And you really need to just work with an advisor to make sure that happens.
Very good. Okay, so number 2, how do I make sure my spouse is taken care of? That's a big one we get.
Well, again, working with someone that knows how to work those numbers to make sure that again, you're doing things on purpose instead of by default. Because so many times we hear people say, oh, that should be enough to take care of her. But they don't think about all the things that's going to happen. For instance, how many people are going to lose out on Social Security? They know they're going to get it, but when one person dies, they're going to lose at least a third of their Social Security. And in a lot of cases, we see where they lose 100% or part of their retirement because they didn't make the right choices. So it's very important, that you work with someone to make sure that happens, because your spouse is just too important. You want to make sure that they're taken care of, just if you're here or not here.
Yeah, I think we heard that best put the other day. We had a brand new client in with her husband that was an existing client. They just got married, and she said, I just want a plan. I want a plan. And we finally asked her, what do you want a plan for? She said, the what ifs.
Yeah,
and those are big, right? So number 3, and this is really from business owners, but we work with a lot of business owners, so wanted to get this on the show. How do I get money out of my business?
Well, there's, I've always said that cash is king, and if people don't plan on pulling money out and putting it in something that they can get to that money, what they do is they end up putting money back into their business all the time. And we've seen this happen more times than not, that we think our business, we can sell it, but and that's where we're going to get our money. But it's not a good plan, because sometimes we're in an industry that industry fails at some point in time. It's no longer attractive, and you may not have a buyer. People just don't want to get into the business today like they did back when I started. And maybe banks are struggling loaning money to people that want to buy into that business. So again, working with a financial advisor, find out how to get money out is extremely important. Again, you can do it, and that's one way to save taxes, is to work and pull money out of your business and pay yourself first, instead of paying Uncle Sam.
Yeah, very, very good. Well, we really appreciate having you on the show, Dad. And I know when Aaron's on the show, I actually introduce him formally most of the time. But thank you so much. This has really been an honor and been so great, I think, especially for our continued listeners, just to hear really what our culture's about, where we came from, and some great information, I think, that they can carry with them. So thank you so much. And again, my name is Angela Robinson with Kennedy Financial Services here in Eastland, Texas. We help people live life on purpose, thanks to my dad, and hope everyone has a great week, and God bless.
Thank you.
That was absolutely wonderful. Mr. Kennedy, a pleasure to meet you, pleasure to have you on the program. I want to venture one thing. I think if you did not approach your business the way that you do, I don't think your children would have joined the business, but it's the way that you do it.
Well,
would you agree with that?
Absolutely.
If it were only numbers, if it were only number crunching, I don't think you'd be doing it, would you?
No, absolutely not.
Man, that says so much. Thank you, sir. It's a
Thank
pleasure.
you. Appreciate you allowed me on the show today. Thank you.
Folks, thank you for joining us. Come back again next time for more Life Planning 101.
Thank you for joining us for Life Planning 101, brought to you by Kennedy Financial Services of Eastland. Tune in every Monday morning at 8:30 on KATX, and again on Saturday morning at 9 o'clock on KATX and KWBY for more Life Planning 101.
Securities and investment advisory services offered through VSR Financial Services Incorporated, a registered investment advisor and member of FINRA SIPC. Kennedy Financial Services is not owned or controlled by VSR Financial Services Incorporated.